Hiya, welcome back. Well, today got something really sick. I'll give you a clue. That's part of it. Ah, fuck it, let's just open it. Right, there we go. Big clue. Some big horns. That's what it says they are anyway. So I'll just pull these out of the box, while you have a quick look at the technical specifications of these horns. Right, it appears that we have two main components, or two main boxes. Now let's have a look inside them. There's a seal of approval there, seal of quality. First, let's have a look in this one because it looks easier to open. I'm guessing that in that one, there's going to be horns in it. That was right. They're actually made out of metal. Fucking proper quality. Right. And yeah, I mean, they look like they might have some depth of sound, maybe. They actually work with air and air pressure and a solenoid valve, whereas the last one that I fitted works with a little pump. Even got PTFEs, generic fitting kit that's suitable for any vehicle, direct fitment for any vehicle. Some pipe that's probably not long enough. Even got a fuse. Let's have a look in the other box. Choose some suitable box opening apparatus. Yes. And now we've lovingly opened that box. Let's have a look. Now, as you can see, it said compressor on the main box, and that is what this is. That is a compressor. Look at this. The excitement is building up inside me. My penis is rock hard. Get off. So it appears that we do have the bits required, or most of them. We've got quality instructions. We have an air compressor. I mean, that is some, like a HPC sort of style out of, you know, like you see in a garage, really, or, you know, something that produces a lot of air. Our horns, and some shit to stick it all to the car. And all that is going to go somewhere in here. Right, so here's our main pieces that we have to find a suitable home for. That one can pretty much go anywhere. This one might cause a problem. So let's go and offer it up to the car and see where it fits. Let's do a quick strip down so we can see where we can mount it. Hold on. I'd say time lapse, but don't need to time lapse on this because everything comes apart so fast. Boot 4, there we go. Right. The compressor, well, that can go anywhere. Like I said, the issue that I've got is where to mount these. Ideally, they want to be outside the vehicle. I could put them about there, and passengers would love me, but let's find somewhere else. Another option is, I mean, I can mount them onto there, underneath the back of the car, facing outwards, and then when the horn is pressed, it'd give extra propulsion, wouldn't it? It'd be like one of them new Teslas with the rocket boosters on them. So that's one option, but it's a bit low down. Ground clearance isn't great. So let's look at other options. And at this end, it's not looking much better neither, because it appears that I have purchased a system that is too big for the vehicle. So I think I've come to the conclusion that I've bought an arm that's too big, but it looks like it'll potentially fit where the other ones was originally put in the last video. So, bumper off. And as if by magic, the bumper is now off. Didn't show any of that because, well, I think by the time I've done this and fitted everything, if I was showing all bits like that that I'd shown before, my phone would probably go flat. So anyway, this is how I'm going to try and put it. Well, I'm going to try and put it where the other ones are. I'm going to take that other air horn kit off. I'm going to bung that in there. Probably just cable tie it into place, the same as the other one really, because it's got quite a good plastic piece of shit to cable tie to. And then, what I can also do then, which I wasn't going to do, is I can wire it the same way as this one as well. So I can use the original horn to power it. But what I will do, just in case, so I've always got a horn, even if the compressor runs out of air or whatever, I'm going to also wire the original horn up so it comes on in situ at the same time. So, will this fit? Let's move this shit right there. Yeah, I think it'll go in with a crowbar. But before I go any further, I need to remove the one that we put in last time. Professional installation with cable tie technician and what have you. Right. So there's that out of the way. And yes, something like that. I mean, something like that. As might become apparent here, this hose, which fits into, well, like olive connectors that screw into the solenoid on the arm, isn't very long, which means none of this, just for a change, none of this is going as planned. So I'll have to mount the compressor near to the arms. I expected to be able to mount the arms anywhere, really. I thought they'd be not that big, really. Even the measurements are probably on the list and where I bought them from. But now I have to figure a way to put that next to that. And the logical option would be obviously to put it here. A bit of squeezing, a bit of tinkering. I'll get that in there. I don't know how weatherproof this is, and that is outside. But fuck it, I'm just going to do it anyway. Hope for the best. Right, so this is roughly what I'm going for. Now, if you look on here, they actually, when Citroen designed this car, or Toyota, or Peugeot, whichever one, whoever did this bit, they actually foresaw some dick putting a stupid horn on it. And if you look here, that isn't for an aircon radiator, that mine doesn't have. That's for, it does fit in because I put it in before. There we go. So it's actually got half of the bracket on the original car. So now I just have to fix the rest of it all down and hope for the best. I mean, luckily this is quite a strong piece of quality plastic too, which when the bumper's on is even stronger. I think that is how it's going to have to be. Now, so I'm sort of decided where I'm putting everything, which is pretty much where I just said I was going to put everything. But this plastic, it is quite strong, but this is quite heavy, and obviously when you're hitting speed bumps at 150 mile an hour plus, might break. So I'm just gonna I think I'm just gonna add some strength, some support to this bent cross member at the front, which is all keffed in and fucked anyway, but I think I'm gonna put something from there to there. Now this leads me on to these, which got some big Jubilee clips, which I've purchased from Mass Car Spares ashore. because they have all sorts of stuff like this. So big up mass car spares. So let's see if I can make this, well, work. And as ever, we are going for an OEM kind of look with all the fixings and what have you. So just tighten this up round here. So just tightening this up. Don't want to go mad with it. And now, as you can see, that is actually pretty solid. Now this end here, I really don't fancy that going through my radiator, so I'm going to have to tie that up somehow as well. And the good thing about the Jubilee clips is if one isn't long enough, you can always link two together. So I'll be back in about, I don't know, 25 minutes when I finish tightening this up. So I thought now it's probably time that I should probably look at the instructions. And well, as we can see, do not use this product in an area where it can fall or pulled into water or other liquids. That's probably not ideal. Do not out this product to get wet. Well, looks like I'm completely ignoring most of that anyway, so let's just crack on. Yes, got made to measure. Actually quite sturdy really, so I think that might be okay. Right, so as I've mentioned, we've got everything lovingly mounted. Now we need to do some piping and some electrics, which should be the easy bit. Right, so now I'm going to do some piping, which I need both hands for. So I'm going to use this tripod, which was lovingly donated by a massive sponsorship deal by DHR Coaches, my mate Craig. So I'll load it in. Right, so this is the piping bit. This is going to screw into our tank or into our horns, whichever end we put it on. I'm going to put some PTFE on it, which came with the kit prepared. It comes with everything that you need. And when you're fitting PTFE, if you look at it as though you're screwing it onto it. So if you're looking at it from there, I'm screwing down onto it, so I'm going clockwise from the end of the thread. Like this. Just open that up. And then when I turn that in, the tail isn't going to be, well, it's not going to be pushed backwards, it's going to be going with where it's going, which I shall do now. And then that'll be a taper thread, so the further you go in, the tighter it gets. And I've got the wrong size spanner there. 10 milli. Nip this up. Doesn't have to be stupid tight, but it needs to be tight. That'll do. And then put the pipe on. So here's our pipe. Here's our sort of collar, which tightens it on. Put that on first. Put the pipe over the nipple. Put it all the way over the nipple. And then when I tighten that up, it'll lock on. So simple as that really. That's a 12mm, that's a 10mm, just tighten them together. And just nip it up. Got to do the same on the arms. I'm not going to show it on both, it's the same. Right, so as you can see, everything is in place and all being well, ready for some wiring. Now the way I'm going to wire it is, I have got two main wires. These go to the compressor. Now these are effectively going to go straight to the battery, and with a fuse on it. I was going to wire it in so it's through a relay and it comes on with the ignition, but I can't be bothered. So to turn it off, I'll just pull the fuse out. So first, some shit Audi going up the street. So first, let's conquer that Right, so the first thing I'm going to power up is the compressor itself, which there's a positive. I've left the fuse out for now, and then this is the wire that's going to run down. So it wasn't long enough, so I've had to put a straight connector in it. So I'm going to run this down to here and connect it into the positive on here, like so. So when I connect that to the battery, I've got a positive, well, when I put the fuse in, I've got a positive going to my compressor. So next, I need to wire in a negative, which there's a loop connector here, which I'm hoping I can get away with just drilling it into the bodywork somewhere. Let's get rid of some of this rust with a correct tool. So now we've got an earth, we've got a positive. Let's see if the compressor runs. I'm going to touch this. I'll put the fuse back in, so when I touch this, seems to be running. So I've taken the fuse back out for now and connected it in. Lovely. Right, so now I need to sort the trigger wire out, and this wire here is the trigger wire. Well, no, this is the power wire coming down to the air-on from the relay. Now, I probably don't need to use the relay anymore because it's just going to be powering the original horn and a solenoid. But I've got it, so I'm just going to use it anyway. But first, I want to connect this back into the horn, because, well, I'm going to have this working as well, not just for extra power and extra loudness, but in case this stops working, I'll still have a noddy on. So I'm going to connect that into there, and then I am going to connect this, which is the trigger wire for the original relay, which I did in the last video, further up this wire. So I'm just going to do that. I can't be arsed filming it really, it's a bit of a faff, but you'll see how I've done it. So this is well sick, right? I cut the wire too short, and instead of just making a new wire which goes up to that relay there, nice and easy, I've just joined it, you know, nice and professional. Anyway, this is the trigger wire, which needs tapping into that, as you can see it, this. Now I'll just plug the original horn back in. I'll just show you. Right, so now there's the original horn doofer. Plug that back in. Let's see if the horn actually still works. Yes. Right, so we are nearly there. I mean, as with everything I've done, it's cobbled together and a bit of a bodge, but we're nearly there. We've got our compressor wired in, piped in, and we've got our arm back wired up, and these two here are the earth and the feed from the relay, which, like I said, I don't really need to use a relay to feed that, but I have it, so I'm going to join them two wires to here, tidy it up a bit, well, probably not tidy it up a bit, and just put it back together. So anyway, I made this lead up with two connectors which plug into these, which I'm going to join into there. It shouldn't matter which way around it is, because it's just a solenoid. There's no plus or minus actually on it. It's just a solenoid, it'll work both ways. So let's join that in and let it run nice and neatly out of the way. And the last two connections are now plugged in, so when it's charged up it should work. So there's one big thing left to do. She's going. Well, it fills up faster than I expected it to. Yes. It appears that we have a leak. Right, so I've got that one to stop leaking, but this one is now leaking. But nowhere near as much. I have to live with it for now. I'll just have to remember to take the fuse out when I park up, otherwise the compressor's going to be going off all the time and I will have a flat battery. But for now, I'm going to put the bumper back on because I'm a bit strapped for time for fucking about further with it. But then we'll see how it works. So now upon trying to fit the bumper is the point where I've come to the conclusion that this might not be the best idea that I have ever had. Need to cut the bumper out now to make that fit. But for now, I'm just going to have to drive it like that for a couple of days until I get a chance to fix it. I think the compressor, there's a few issues at the moment, which is why I've not shown it working yet. The hose is leaking slightly, so the compressor is cutting in every couple of minutes and getting red hot, so that's less than ideal. Where it's situated, not best pleased with, because it's not only blocking flow to the radiator, which I don't think is going to cause much of a problem, but it's going to get piss wet through and the bumper doesn't fit on. And the more I cut out of the bumper, the more water's going to get on it because of our tropical climate. So I might have to rethink things a little bit and possibly go down another route with it. But that's all part of the fun. That's what I'd call it, fun. So let's see what we can come up with. And the route that I'm going to go down is I'm going to pretty much, I'll not start again, but sort of start again. So first I need to take this back off because it's in the way. Right, and I'm going to leave the arms there, but I'm going to get rid of that from there for now to start with. So let's get that taken off. And disconnect this just after I finally managed to stop getting that one from leaking. And the fuse is out, so I can do what I want with the wires. Right, so now this is out from there, and that leaves us with enough space to fit the bumper. Right, so where does that leave us as in everything working? Well, these horns have still got power going to the solenoid to release them, and they are actually going to stay there. Now this pipe, I should have some pipe. It's not very big, that pipe. I might make that bigger for a future video, but I probably won't because it's a lot of fucking about. But this pipe wasn't long enough to place that into the boot, but I should have some pipe so I can do that now. Well, that's the plan anyway. So right, so where does this leave me? I am going to put the original horns, not the original horns, the horns that I fitted recently, them shitters, I'm going to put them back. So they're going to get triggered at the same time as this off the same connections. So first, yeah, I'm going to put them back. You don't need to see that because I've already made a video of it. So I'm going to put them back there, and then when it's finished, what I'll have is, I'll have that horn working, I'll have them horns working, and that horn working. That's the plan. So I'm going to put them horns back on. I'm going to put them there to start with and stop repeating myself multiple times. And then the front, we'll put something like this. So let me just explain everything to the best of my ability. Right, horn. That is the original Shitroen noddy horn. This is the one that I fitted a couple of weeks ago, the air horn. Why is it? The pipes are all a bit bunched up. Not really interested. This is now powered from the relay. This is powered, this is powered, and this is powered. So that leaves us to figure where to put this. We've got a few things left to do now, but not all that much. And I am thinking, let's put this, I'm going to mount that there somehow to there-ish. Another problem that I need to sort out is that the threads, no matter how much PTFE I put on or whatever, are still leaking. So I'm going to put some of this pipe thread seal on them. And I'm going to tighten that up. I'm going to mount this somewhere around here, wire it back in, and we should be good to go. So let me just recap that. Threads, right? Seal them with that shit, and then mount that there. Put pipe from there to there. Join wires back up, and shouldn't be too far off. So I have sealed these pips. Now, where I'm going to put this, as I said, I'm going to try and put it here. Now, I've been trying to use a self-drilling screw to mount that to there, but as you can see, that is some strong stuff. But what would you expect anything less on this car? So in the meantime, I'm going to drill that in a minute, but I can't bother going getting a drill yet. In the meantime, I have I've wired them wires through this gap here, through there, and I've put that Jubilee clip round it, and I'm just going to tighten this against here with a bit of packing in it. Not sure what the packing will do, might just help stop a bit of vibration, but first I need to tighten this up, which is going to look something like that. And it's sort of half tightened up. I mean, it's not moving anywhere. But I am going to have to loosen it off a bit, put a bolt in it, and then tighten it up. That bit will come. For now, let's wire it back up and put our hose in. Now, this leftover hose that came with the kit might be, hopefully, just long enough to reach where it needs to go, and it looks like it might just be, as the crow flies, long enough. But let's connect them both ends up, as you can see, beautifully demonstrated here. Ta-da! Right, I need to make sure that's not leaking, so I need to connect these two wires together and put a fuse back in. But first, I'm going to have to carefully measure this and mount that, and then tighten this Jubilee clip up all the way as well. So I'll mount this first, and then I'll connect that. Engineering. And that is now solid. The only thing is we can't see our pressure gauge. So I might have to like drill a hole in the wing or the bumper to see what pressure we're running at. But for now, she'll do. Let's join that wire up, connect everything back up. That's for the lights on the bumper, and hopefully it won't leak. But first, let's connect up, see if it does. Right, and we are nearly ready, hopefully. So, power cables are on, earth is connected, pipe is done. Now, I'm sorry if I keep on repeating the same shit and going backwards and forwards, pointing the phone at the same shit, but I'm doing this. I'm sort of doing it a bit in dribs and drabs here. Not gonna lie, I'm doing it in dribs and drabs, not in one fell swoop. So I can't fucking remember what I've already told you. So yeah, if I repeat myself, that's why. Anyway, everything's connected, everything's on. All that there is left to do is to pressurise it and see if it goes on fire, and B, if our joints don't leak. Now, one thing that I haven't done, which I wish I had done, fucking bus over there. One thing that I hadn't done, which I wish I had done, or which I will do probably at some point, is make this ignition controlled. So it's relay controlled. So it's not running all the time. But for now, this will have to do. So let's pump it up and then see if it's leaking. Yes. Right, so I've tried that again, but I'll have to leave it to dry. But in the meantime, I'll put that shitter back on there and put it back together, get the bumper back on. So yeah, Then I'll probably leave it till tomorrow before I actually test it, make sure that the sealant's actually dry. I don't fancy taking it all off again. So yeah, I'm going to throw the bumper back on and see if it fits. She's back together. Wonderful. Right, quick tidy up of all this shit, and then I'm going to leave it. I'm going to leave that fuse out. By rights, if all's going to plan, which nothing has so far, which means it's going to plan, put that fuse in and it should work. If I use it without that fuse in, then it should be just the same as it was before. But when I put that in, it should work. But for that, I'm going to have to wait for tomorrow. You're going to have to wait about 30 seconds after I've had the bumper off yet again, because that shitter keeps on leaking. Taking it off, blowing it out, cleaning it out best I can, but sometimes it seems to leak through the valve and it comes out the end of the arms rather than the threads, which I thought were leaking to start with. And also neatly wired in an ignition controlled switch which is neatly wired to this relay. So the compressor isn't running all the time. If I turn the ignition on and then turn the switch on, nothing happens. Mint. All right, let's put a fuse in. Should be a 30 amp really, I think it's meant to be, but that's a 20 it'll do to test it and try again. So, ignition on, moment of truth. Yes, that is definitely running. Turn it off, turn it on.
Then you'll get all the vintage.
But for some reason, the bulb inside the switch has failed. But I can live with that. So let's go and try it. Which means finding a suitable applicant to test it on. Oh, the light started flickering on the switch again. So as you've witnessed, and you can see, you might not be able to, because it might not pick up that well on my microphone, but it is pretty loud. Yeah, pretty loud. And the kit, it was, for what you get, not that expensive. I think it was about 70 quid, something like that. And for the compressor and everything, that seems pretty cheap. The solenoid, which is under the, well, you can't see fuck all, can you, because there's a bumper in place, but the solenoid is a bit shit, but it seems to have settled down now. It does seem to have settled down. It doesn't seem to be leaking anymore. So that seems to have rectified itself. But other than that, yeah, pretty impressed with that. Anyway, don't forget to check out my other videos, because there's loads of other shit videos on this channel. Don't forget to comment, you know, subscribe, all that kind of shit. Anyway, see you next time. Peace out, bruv.